Hi, everybody. Welcome to this half-hour webinar or live stream on manifesting with your guiding star. I'm really happy to be speaking to all of you, and this is kind of an exciting topic for me. I just want to do a little tiny bit of housekeeping before I get started. I am going to try to answer your questions if you have any, if anyone's watching this live right now. But if I don't see your question or comment, hi, how are you? Hey, Kirsten. If I don't see your comment or question, what I will do is I will come in afterwards and I will answer it in the live stream. Hey, how you doing? I'll answer it in the comment section, or I will, if you'd like me to Facebook message you, I'll do it that way. So just let me know in the comments if you have like a more involved question that you think would be better for me to answer with Facebook Messenger. Also, I was originally going to do a guided journey as part of this, and I decided that I had made a tape of it, and I've decided I'm going to make a separate post of the guided journey. It's a journey, a shamanic journey that's guided up the Milky Way to your guiding star. And the reason I'm doing this is because this journey is really best done in the evening. And so once you do it once, you pretty much know how to do it, and you can do it again if you need to. So, welcome. And let me see if I can see any questions so far. Sorry, I'm doing this on see if I can see any questions. Hold on for a minute here. I'm having a little technical glitch. Yeah, so basically, hold on for 1 minute. Hey, Christina, how are you? So basically, I'm going to fix this, and then I'll come back and, hey, how are you all? And then I'll come back and do and take questions. So basically, I am interested in this topic, and I think that people with a shamanic practice should be interested in this topic, because many of us are familiar with working with animal spirits. Many of us even work with plant spirits. Some even work with the spirits of the elements. But star energies, except for the world of astrology, are not discussed as often in the shamanic world that Western people like myself would have access to. And I first became interested in star energies about 20 years ago when I began following the Mayan calendar. And the Mayan calendar actually has a very strong connection to the planet Venus and to the Pleiades. And I began to have very powerful dreams about stars, different ones, Sirius, Pleiades, I think Alpha Centauri was one of them. And I noticed that I had these dreams often when I was going through a very profound change in my life, sometimes involving very intense emotions, but basically where I was really needing to take on something important. And I began to notice that and think, wow, that's interesting. What's going on with that? And around the same time, I was fortunate to meet a man named Teo Paredes, who was running a center called Pocancanchai. He's a Peruvian cultural anthropologist and healer, and he was coming to America and teaching people. And I both studied with him briefly and received a healing from him. And I noticed that after his healings, for some of his clients, he would give them a sort of spiritual homework or prescription involving stars. For example, my prescription after my healing was that I needed to leave out a bowl of water under the moon and the stars between the new moon and the full moon, and then pour that water over my head with help. I needed help at the time, every morning. And then for another person that I knew, that person had to imagine connecting his crown chakra to his guiding star and then take holy water. So I began to hear about this concept called the guiding star. And that really interested me because it was a very powerful, important part of Teo's work. And some of what I'm going to be sharing with you that is traditional comes from Teo's work that he very generously shared with all of us. So that's kind of how I got started in all of this. And basically, star energies are not, it's not really the same as astrology, although I believe there is a part of it that does have to do with astrology. And that is that star energies are about connecting with the actual energies of the stars themselves. A lot of this is basically based on the old hunter-gatherer tradition of using the stars to know when it was time to gather or hunt for food. And then that became part of the agricultural cycle. For example, for many people around the world, the Pleiades are associated with both planting and harvesting. So there's a great connection to the Pleiades in many of these traditions. And in fact, in the Andes, there's a divination that is done by a special shaman called an Alto Misayok, who will go out on a special night, and if he can see the Pleiades clearly, with no fog, it will be a good harvest. But if it's cloudy or hazy, then there might be problems. So that's a form of agricultural divination involving stars. But the guiding star is something kind of special. The guiding star basically, there is no divination in Western society to determine your guiding star. So the way I did it was, and the way other people around me have done it, is to just first work with a star that you feel really good about. Like, let's say you connect with one of the stars in your birth sign constellation, or you really love Sirius, or you really love the Pleiades. You know, just pick a star. For me, it's the central star in the Pleiades. I think it's called Alcyone, that I connect with very strongly. And if it's your guiding star, not only will you gain a benefit from it, but you'll feel tuned in to your true, authentic purpose. And there's a very good reason for this, because in the Karo tradition, the guiding star is a portal to the upper world. And it's where the soul of each child enters the world, the Kaipacha, the middle world, the world that we all see and talk to each other in. It enters a body through this guiding star. That's the portal. And so every person has a guiding star. They have a mountain spirit that represents their connection to this world, and they have a body of water that connects them to the lower world and to their ancestors. So you can see why the guiding star would be so powerful and important to kind of remind you of your authentic self and path. And one of the ways that you can connect with this is through a very short exercise that we could try now, if you're up for it. This can be done at any time of day. In fact, for a prescriptive use in a healing, sometimes it's actually done at noon. So you can do this at night, or you can do this during the day. And it's very simple. What you do is you just take a deep breath or some other way to relax your body and kind of feel your feet or your body that's connecting to the earth or the floor in any way. So just take a moment to just sort of take a cleansing breath. Okay, now, you're going to imagine that from your crown chakra, right here, that there's a blue light, kind of an electric blue, and it's shooting up, 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 all the way into the Milky Way. And it's looking for your special star. It's probably one that you feel good about. So if there's a star that you feel particularly close to, or a constellation, kind of hold that intent as you send the blue light up. And once you connect with your guiding star, you'll begin to feel a sort of energetic transmission from your guiding star flowing down through your crown chakra and into your body. And just sort of let yourself receive this for a few minutes. You can kind of taste the energies a little bit and just see if you feel stronger, more empowered. And then after a few minutes, you can release the blue light and then just go about your day. Now that is a very simple way of connecting with your guiding star that you can do at any time, and you don't have to worry about being in a dark room or being in a place where you can journey. You can do that even when you're at work. So if you could show me did anybody have a positive experience with that? Like you can either like or heart or just some way of knowing if you had an okay experience with that. That's kind of a core tradition that several of the Andean traditions work with. And you can also use this practice with stars that are not your guiding star. Many of the stars have different medicine qualities. Sometimes this is in their traditional lore. For example, Sirius, in some traditions, has to do with healing and with wisdom. And so some people connect with the star Sirius for greater healing and wisdom, whether that's your guiding star or not. I personally find that I enjoy working with stars that are currently in the night sky. In fact, I like going out at night and doing the blue light practice that we just did underneath the stars with the star that, let's say is Sirius. It just happens to be in the night sky in the fairly early evening right now, if you're in the northern hemisphere. And the red star Aldebaran that's in Taurus, or the Pleiades. These are all stars that you can actually see right now. So I see some questions, so I'm going to take a peek and see. Oh, Jessica says, it illuminated some crown clearing work I needed to open the channel. That's fantastic. Great. That's good. That just, and then Kirsten said you felt the loving energy. That's good, because it's like your soul is getting like a little tiny reminder of your original self and your original purpose by doing that. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And you can experiment with different stars. Some will feel energetically better than others. And I will probably be writing more about their medicine purposes if this is something that interests you. So I wanted to talk for a few minutes about stellar ancestry. This is the idea that some people have, that their ancestors actually came from other planets in other solar systems. We tend to think of this as kind of a crazy New Age, UFO idea. And there is a lot of great New Age information out about this. But this is actually also a traditional idea in some cultures. And there's a culture in Indonesia, I think their name is the Torajans. And I had posted a little article about them in the event page, because they're really extraordinary. Because the traditional view, not influenced by television or contact with any Western civilization, is that their ancestors came from the stars, and that if they fulfill their funeral practices, which are very involved, in the proper way, they will actually return to either the Pleiades or to Ursa Major, which turns out to be very important in agriculture. So you can see the connection between the agricultural tradition with stars and this other spiritual tradition, which is very powerful in many cultures. So let me just check and see if there's any more questions or comments. Do I have a resource that goes over the stars and their meanings, like a directory? Well, that's really interesting, because I would say that most of these resources are going to be somewhat influenced by New Age ideas. But if that doesn't matter to you, there's a really great book called Star Walking by Paige Bryant, which I will post a link to. And she talks about a lot of really great practices. And she also goes into each of the stars and talks about kind of what they do. And there is a lot of traditional knowledge in her book. It's just that it's also woven in with like theosophy, which also connects with stars and things like that, which I don't have a problem with, but it just depends on how traditional you are. So, do I offer readings that help uncover which stars are guiding star? Yes, I do. And I do more of it based on, I also do stellar ancestry readings for people who believe that they have star ancestry. But yes, I do. I actually made an oracle deck to work with star energies, because I also like to work with cards. And I use that and also other techniques to connect the person with their guiding star. Yes. But really, it's something that you really have to experience yourself, because that feeling of rightness that you feel when you connect with it is something that another person can tap into some of that, but you have to really experience it to live it. And that, so I would say I offer readings, but also it's good that you experience it. And so I will be posting the guided journey, which is a really great way to connect with your guiding star. Yes, I talk through it because it's sort of a teaching tool, but after that you can just journey the way you normally do. And you go up the Milky Way to your guiding star, and you basically decide if you want to work together. So that's a really helpful way to begin this practice also. And that's one of the practices that I actually learned from Teo. So let me see if there's anything else. And just to give you an idea of how powerful stellar ancestry can be, I did a reading several years ago about stellar ancestry, and it was so powerful that immediately afterwards I knew something big had happened, but I couldn't tell what. And then about a month later, I saw the Milky Way for the first time outside, and when I asked if it had a connection to this reading, I saw shooting stars as a confirmation. And then shortly after that, I got a completely different way of working with divination. So these ways of working have great power for people and help them change in a good way. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some ways to, just some other practices to work with your guiding star. There is a chakra practice that is done between the new moon and the full moon involving your guiding star. And I'm going to be posting a link that you can sign up for. If you haven't already signed up, anyone who signs up will receive a guided journey to do this practice. And basically it involves just lying down between the new moon and the full moon in a very dark room. You want it to be as free of distractions as possible. And then what you do is you connect with your guiding star, and streams of energy flow from your guiding star. Either you can attach them from your body up to the guiding star, or you can reverse it and the guiding star can attach it down to your body. And this is very powerful. It helps to align your chakras. It's very calming. It helps to get you out of daytime mode and into nighttime mode, which is a more reflective time. And I think one of the things that's really powerful about this practice is that Teo taught us that during the day we source from the earth, but during the night we all source from star energies. So you need a way of deliberately saying, I'm going to do this in a conscious way. And this is one of those ways. And it's also good for your endocrine system. It was, I use it. I have endocrine issues, health issues, and it's been very helpful. So let me see if there's another. Kirsten says my guided journey really helped connect with the guiding star. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing this with you and seeing how you like it. Now there's another way you can work with the guiding star, and that is through stones or crystals. This is not traditional, this one. I have a medicine bundle, and it's filled with meteorites, tektites, like this moldavite, and other stones that are connected to star energies. I feed this bundle with white flowers, which are associated with the upper world energies, and since the stars are connected to the upper world, they seem to like that food. I also feed it with dried lavender flowers. That's a more European version. And you can add things like tobacco or other spirits, energies that connect with stars or with medicine beings. So I found that having that medicine bundle, or you can put it on an altar, has been very helpful in connecting with the star energies so that it's more easy for me to draw on them throughout the day. And the other practice is kind of part of a traditional Dene practice, or Navajo. And let's say this was a clear crystal. You would take this crystal and you would look at it so that starlight beams through it. Now what this will do is it makes sort of a type of strange rainbow where some stars will have more red in them, some will be more blue. And there's actually a practice in physics where they were able to measure something about stars this way. But this is also part of a traditional diagnostic technique or practice that's done by the Navajo people, and it is very effective in helping you to connect with star energies, especially if you want to connect with your guiding star. And any crystal that you've blessed this way has a really strong connection to that star and would be really good for work with that star. So you can, if you want to empower your crystals to go into your altar, that's one way you could do it. Or you could carry a crystal on your body when you do the guiding star journey, and your helping spirits will empower it. So either one of those is a completely wonderful and helpful way to empower a crystal to carry that energy for you. So let me just check and see if anyone has a question. Hi Jacqueline, hey Tammy, how are you? Good to see you. So I've been talking for a while. Does anybody have a question, or is any of this unclear in any way? I'm just going to take a moment and let people. And if not, I'm going to go into basically a little bit about how the guiding star basically helps to manifest things. This is a practice that comes from Theosophy, and there is a New Age teacher named Sanaya Roman who uses it. I personally think that it's probably much older than this, but I learned it from Sanaya Roman. And it's basically working with the star energies of three different groups. One is Ursa Major, which is connected to divine purpose. One is Sirius, which is divine healing, and one is the Pleiades, which is for divine manifestation. And if I'm stuck and I'm kind of at the beginning of a process, I might work with Ursa Major more to get an idea, a clear idea of what I need. If I have an idea but I can't take action, or I'm frustrated in my actions, I might work with Sirius. Or if it turns out that it's not an inner block, but it's an outer block, like I need to learn something, or network with somebody, or do something that's more external, but it's brand new, I will work with the Pleiades. And I do the blue star meditation that we've done earlier, and I have had great results. In fact, you can work with running energy to Ursa Major, following that with Sirius, and then the Pleiades. And by the time you have all three of those running through your body, when you ask it to bless whatever activity you're trying to manifest, it is a wonderful and very empowering and helpful way of clearing your energy field. So let me see where we are right now, time-wise. So it looks like we're almost at 12 o'clock, and I don't want to keep people who are on a schedule. But is there any questions or comments that you would like, or anything you'd like to hear more about? And while some of you, if any of you are typing, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat what I mentioned at the beginning for people who joined in later. I am going to be posting a link for people to sign up if they would like to receive the practice for working with the chakras and the guiding star at night. And I will also be posting in a separate post in the Facebook group a guided journey, shamanic journey, up the Milky Way, which is to be done at night to connect with your guiding star. Both of those practices are good to do at night. And basically the chakra one is good to be done between the new moon and the full moon. So the blue light one you can do anytime. The journey is better to be done at night, and the chakra is between the new and the full moon. So let me see if I can get some questions here. What are the most popular guiding stars? Have you noticed a trend with people you work with sharing the same guiding stars? Yes, a lot of people work with either Sirius or the Pleiades or Ursa Major, which is why I talked about them this month. I also have a suspicion that many people work with the North Star, but I haven't seen it as often. Occasionally I will find someone who works with Cassiopeia. That's unusual. But Cassiopeia has a very feminine energy because it's cross-culturally associated with feminine energies, so it does occasionally show up. Oh, and also Alpha Centauri. I've seen Alpha Centauri a lot. Yeah, which is surprising because you can't even see it in the Northern Hemisphere. And then Jessica says, in regard to offerings, what's an appropriate way ritual for adding, removing, refreshing offering materials? Well, most of the offerings that I do, especially for the medicine bundle, are things that are from nature. like flowers or leaves or things like that. So those things I usually change out of the bundle when it starts to feel like it's losing its zing, like it's not quite as empowered. Sometimes when you pick up the bundle, it will tell you. And when I do this is I take the offerings outside and I sprinkle them in front of my door because I live in an apartment. But if you have a house and you have enough, you can go around your entire house. And it will protect the energy of your house. And it's like putting salt in front of your door. It has the same purpose of deflecting unhelpful energies. So that's one practice. So I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, please let me know, because I'll be happy to go into more detail. Let me see if anybody else. So I just want to say thank you very much for being part of this. Any questions or comments that you have, I'll be happy to answer after the live stream. And I will be posting the link and also the journey. So blessings to all of you. Thank you.